trap, don't seem to mind it. You attract me. I'm a mouse, you're a cat. I don't seem to mind it. Soft and furry. Oh, and just when I think I'm safe, snap. Turns out I'm never safe, snap. Just when you think you're safe, snap. I come back. You don't seem to mind it, but I'm a fool. Broke my back. You don't seem to mind it, 'cause you're so cool. And just when I think I'm safe, snap. Turns out I'm never safe, snap. Ooh. And just when you think you're safe, snap. Turns out I'm never safe, snap. Ooh. Just when I think I'm safe, oh. Turns out I'm never safe. Oh, just when you think you're safe, it turns out I'm never safe.
Here. Good morning, MouseHunt community, as Brian would say. Welcome to Feedback Friday. It is September 1st, 2017. How's everybody in the chat doing? Good morning, Dave. Good morning to you as well, Peter. Hello, Shay, Lisa, Jason, Ben, Peter, Axel, Ben, Dennis, Mika, Ben, Axel, Salim, hello, Ryan. Slightly early, but hi, Dave. Yes, I think I'm slightly early, a couple of minutes early. Well, the office is closed today for the long weekend. Brian gave us the Friday off as well, also closed on Monday for Labor Day. But I thought I'd pop in, say hi for Feedback Friday, give a little sneak peek at Mosu Picchu, which is coming out next week. And so we'll just kind of wing it today a little bit. Now, if anybody's up for posting a summary, I don't have a summary today, so if somebody wants to summarize things, that would be appreciated. Otherwise, maybe we'll keep it a little shorter so people watching recorded can get the scoop here. Chilling in a hotel that I know. I'm at my house here. I'm at the comfort of my couch for Feedback Friday today. Well, where is Mosu Picchu here? So if you've been watching or if you've been reading if you read the news post, you know Mosu Picchu is coming next week. It'll probably be Wednesday we're aiming for. We were hoping to maybe do Tuesday, but I think with the holiday and there's a couple little loose ends, we just want to play through everything one more time when we get back on Tuesday. So we're thinking Mosu Picchu will come on Wednesday if everything goes as planned, if no major problems come up while we're playtesting it over the weekend and doing our last little playtest together on Tuesday. Looks great, says Salim. Thank you. I think the artist did a great job with a lot of the art here. I think players will enjoy all the mice and different characters. The HUD's really neat too. I wish I had maybe an animation. You can see down below there's a lot of you're controlling the weather, and so there's rain and there's wind. And Lauren painted the HUD. She kind of split it up on the two sides, and as the rain and the wind change, they start to kind of blend together a little bit in the middle. It looks really neat as you transition between the different storm levels. That's a lot of cheese, says Nerdboy. Yes, for testing, I did load myself up with quite a bit of cheese. Probably more than I need, but didn't want to run out while I was testing. Sometimes we just kind of crank out. We do a few thousand hunts or 1,000 hunts at a time, and just kind of see how much points and gold we're earning. Loot drops and stuff is kind of a way to just Monte Carlo test it, we call it. So make sure that our math lines up with how it actually plays. What's the new category of mice called, asks Peter. I believe they're called the Mosu Picchu inhabitants, unless we change that. I'll go double check. Let me go play. Fire up over here. Let me see. Load the mouse page. They are called Where are they? Uh-oh. Seasonal soldiers, wild bunch, train robbers, marching flame. Okay, well, I have some sort of problem where I can't see them on my copy here, so I can't, but I believe they are called the Mosu Picchu inhabitants, or something along those lines. Where did this name come from anyway? I think it was, now I've said Mosu Picchu so many times, I get Machu Picchu. Machu Picchu? Machu Picchu. I think we drew a little inspiration from the mountainous heights of South America. But also it has, we took some inspiration from the geography, but sort of the characters in the story that we went with is obviously a little more, nothing really based in history, something more fantastical than that. Do you do rubber duck testing? No, just Monte Carlo testing. I don't know where that expression came from, but it refers to when you simulate things over and over and over again. So you may know that when you flip a coin, it's 50-50. If you were to Monte Carlo test that, you would flip a coin 1,000 times and write down the response and see, or write down the results and see if it lines up with 50-50 to kind of prove the mathematical theory. Meek asked about dragon scales down below. That is sort of the ultimate reward for the area, or the final reward. They're a crafting item. You can also spend them in the shop. And as you hunt these storm dragons, you'll collect dragon scales, and you can earn the various rewards. The main reward for the area is a new best-in-game draconic trap. And I'm trying to remember the name of it now. I believe it's called the Dragon Vine Ballista. Let me go look up the name. That's easier to look up. Dragon Vine Ballista, yes. So you'll be able to earn the Dragon Vine Ballista trap here. And where'd the chat go? There we go. Are there upgrades for Arcane or Shadow Trap? Asks Shortstop. No, there are not. There are not any new Shadow or Arcane traps to earn in Mosu Picchu. But you can certainly, there'll be the Living Garden tier traps, or the Labyrinth tier traps will certainly do a good job against the mice there. Can we see it on the map? That's a nice request, actually. Jacob drew the map. I think it looks pretty neat. Let me go grab a screenshot of that. There we go. Looks pretty neat. I like it. Minimize this. Now, figure out how to put that screenshot on the screen. That's the next step. We're going to share a media file from, there we go. Whoa, where'd I go? I'm gone. Watch out. Watch out. Shrink that down a wee little bit. There we go. There's Mosu Picchu on the map. Let's see if I can pop up over top of the map. There we go. And we'll just get rid of the word Mosu Picchu. There we go. How many new inhabitants? You know, off the top of my head, I don't remember how many mice there are. I think there's in the neighborhood of 20, maybe just over 20. Shay's asking about the 4 things in the middle of the HUD. Well, it might be good to do a little summary here of how the area works. Maybe I'll get the HUD to come up to the top. There we go. Oh, I never actually, there we go. Helps if I actually put it to the live part there. Well, you can see the HUD down below, and there we go. I was talking about it, but I didn't put it actually up on the screen, but there's the map image for Mosu Picchu as well. So the HUD down below, as I was saying, there are mice who control the wind and mice who control the rain. And when you capture one of them, it sort of disrupts their control of the wind. If you capture a wind mouse, and it makes the wind go up, and vice versa. If you capture a rain mouse, it disrupts their control of the rain, and it causes it to get more rainy. And then there's a final group within, or subgroup within the group of mice called the storm dragons, and when they control both the rain and the wind. And if you capture a storm dragon, they will both go upwards. And so the middle there are the ingredients you're going to craft dragon vine cheese. That's what lures the storm dragons towards your trap. So while you're hunting them, and whenever you capture one, it's going to make it get both more rainy and windy. And then depending on sort of where the weather's at, there's low, medium, high, and max, it changes the encounter rates or adds new mice to the pool. So as it gets more and more windy, you get stronger and more rewarding wind mice. Same thing for rain, but with rain mice. And then the dragons, you need both the rain and the wind to be up high to get the most powerful storm dragons that are worth the most points gold and have loot drops. Mechanic-wise asks, in Notora, if I'm saying that right, what area is this most similar to? I don't know if there's anything that's too similar to this. It's very passive, though, the area. You don't need to come back and click too many buttons or make too many decisions. It's sort of old school. You collect a whole lot of potions and you see how big of a run you can put together. So if anything, I would think maybe Foroma, as far as loot goes, is there's sort of these tiers of loot to go up. But while you're hunting with the cheese, there's a little bit something interesting to watch, because you say, oh, it's really rainy right now, so I'm getting different rain mice. And so it adds a little bit of variety to it, but off the top of my head, I would think Foroma would be the closest, at least mechanic-wise, because it's really loot-driven. Similar to misting, asks Shay. In a way, yes, but there's no sort of HUD element to turn the mist on or off, and it doesn't have the same feel where you want to keep it in a nice sweet spot in the middle. It's much more passive than that. It's best just to leave it maxed. So you sort of set it, forget it. It's a good area if you're not going to be checking back constantly. Then you can just sort of arm your cheese and then use up all your cheese and see how big of a haul of loot you get in the end of it. Kind of like Foroma. Mouse asks, will Shadow or Arcane be better? Well, the Rain Mice are weak to Shadow, and the Wind Mice are weak to Arcane, so they'll both play a role. The Dragon Mice are weak to Draconic. And so you'll be able to take your Ice Maiden or your Dragon Lance, depending which one you have, hunt the Storm Dragons, and work your way towards earning a new best-in-game Draconic Trap. The more chaos, the easier or difficult it is to catch the mice, it becomes more difficult. So the higher the rain, the more powerful rain mice come out, but they are also worth more points in gold, and they have better loot drops as well. So overall, it's more rewarding, but your catch rate drops a little bit. But the mice are worth more, so you'll still want to sort of tough it out in the upper tiers. How often will you be changing traps? Asks Alex. Not too often. It depends on how big of a run you want to put together. But anytime you change traps, you're going to be changing your cheese as well. So you can kind of think of it, maybe if in Foroma, in the meditation room, if you didn't use tactical, you're there to sort of choose to travel to the next step, and you can switch your traps. So there's nothing sort of happening behind the scenes where you need to keep coming back and making sure you have the right trap armed. It's all very, or it's easy to play passively. Ryan asks, what role does Glowing Gruyere play in the area? Well, similar to the Labyrinth, it's useful but not necessary. It'll speed things up a little bit. You get a better drop rate of potions when you hunt with Glowing Gruyere. And the potion, the Rain and the Wind cheese is made from potions. You can pour it on your Glowing Gruyere, or you can pour it on Super Brie or Gouda. And I believe Super Brie and Glowing Gruyere are equal. You'll make 3 pieces per dose of potion, where Gouda makes 2. So it speeds things up a little bit, but it's not absolutely necessary for the area. That said, while you're here, you're going to be able to collect Glowing Gruyere as well. While you're collecting the potions, if you're not hunting with Glowing Gruyere, you'll be able to collect Fungus and Nightshade. So actually, I believe the mouse that I have pictured right there, I think that's called the Nightshade Flower Girl mouse, if I recall correctly, and she drops Nightshade and is attracted to Super Brie, Gouda, and then Brie, Swiss, all those standard cheeses, but not attracted to Glowing Gruyere. So if you're not using Glowing Gruyere, you kind of get a slow and steady supply, and it actually comes in handy if your supplies of Gruyere are low. When you can take that Gruyere that you collected while collecting potions, and you can even out your loot drops a little bit. So you might use Gouda for your rain potions, because you have too many rain potions, and use the Glowing Gruyere that you collected while you're collecting potions to make the wind cheese, and that'll sort of even out your stocks of cheese a little bit. Is this place a gold sink? Well, not particularly. Most areas in the game, your gold will go up as you do it. There might be items that cost money, but overall, I can't think of any areas in the game where you don't earn positive gold income from hunting there. Ben asks about Dragonbane charms. That's a good feedback question as well. Would you like to see Dragonbane charms play a role in the area? That came up, I think, last week on Feedback Friday as well, or maybe it was a few weeks ago. But there are dragon mice, and Dragonbane charms do work against dragon mice, but they don't work against all the draconic brood, only the specific dragon mouse. She asks, if you only attract one mouse at a time due to cheese choice, yes. So you are going to arm your wind cheese to attract wind mice, and the rain cheese, or I think it's called rainy cheese, to attract rain mice. So you can make your power type choice then. Some positive feedback for Dragonbanes. I think we had similar feedback when we asked on another Feedback Friday as well. In general, I find that hunters, common feedback that we get is like to find new uses for existing items that are in your inventory to put them to use. How expensive is the new trap? Not overly expensive. I think it's under 2 million if I recall correctly. It's not inexpensive, but it's certainly not astronomical amounts of gold. It's it's a step up from the Ice Maiden. It's certainly not meant to be a end-all, be-all dragon trap forever in the game. That said, it's in a Grand Duke, Grand Duchess area, and it will become the best draconic trap in the game. Ryan asks, to confirm Nightshade dropping mice are not attracted to glowing Greer. That is correct. There's a unique mouse that drops lots of potions. That one's attracted to glowing Greer. So when you arm your glowing Greer, you'll stop collecting fungus and Nightshade, but you will collect more potions. So if you don't have any glowing Greer, and you arm Super Brie or Gouda or Brie, you'll be collecting some potions, and the mice will also drop fungus and Nightshade. And then you can craft your fungus and Nightshade into glowing Greer, and you can either choose to arm that and get more potions per hunt, or you could use it with your potions and get more cheese, or a higher cheese yield from your potions as well. Luke asks, why does a fail to attract in Fort Rocks cause damage to your wall? Well, the mice are attacking your wall, so if you don't attract one towards your trap, they just head straight to your wall and they damage it. So you're trying to lure them away from the wall toward your trap. Similar to if you had a mouse in your house and it was going to eat all the peanut butter out of your cupboard. If you don't attract it to your trap, it's still going to go and eat your peanut butter. Peter asks, what mouse is worth the most points in gold in the area? Let's check that out. Now, because it's a passive area, it doesn't have that sort of loop that has a definite end. It's more like Feroma. When you get up to the top, if you're doing a big run, you start hitting up against that boss mouse over and over and over again, and it's about seeing how big of a run you can put together. So I'll double check. But it's not astronomical. It's not something like the Minotaur where it's 1 million because it takes so long to get to the Minotaur and you catch it once and it's over. You can get up to the boss relatively quickly, and it's about seeing how many times in a row you can capture it. So Fulmina the Mountain Queen is the almighty storm dragon of the area, and I think we hinted at that in the news post about how to get the map piece for the area. That's already out. And she is 120,000 points, 20,000 gold. But catching her doesn't reset anything, so you could get a streak put together and catch her tens of times in a row. Now again, grain of salt, it isn't quite live yet. We're going to be doing our final playtesting Tuesday, so things still may be tweaked. Zian asks, if I'm saying that right, when will the Archduke area drop? Will it be this year? No, I don't think so, with event season coming up. We're hoping to be able to get that out next year after event season. And this area will be the gateway to it, though. It's the Grand Duke, Grand Duchess area to sort of bridge the gap between the Labyrinth and the eventual first Archduke, Archduchess area. And then Ben points out the unfortunate situation of having captured a Zokor district leader mere hours before the map piece was released. Can I have it retroactively? Unfortunately, no. So that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. I even knew about it ahead of time, obviously, and I didn't even have the foresight. I went to the Labyrinth, I'm like, uh-oh, I'm right at the start of a run. I'm in the worst possible position, I think. Shay's asking about the weather meters for Mosu Picchu. They go up when you capture the rain meter goes up when you capture a rain mouse. Otherwise, it goes down. Any other sort of result other than capturing a rain mouse or actually a storm dragon, those two mice, will cause it to go down. Similar with the wind, you can make it go up by capturing a wind mouse or a storm dragon. Otherwise, it goes down. So if you fail to attract, fail to catch, or you capture a rain mouse, the wind will go down. So the only way to get them both to go up at the same time is by hunting the storm dragon. So the area has this nice sort of ebb and flow, these stages. Again, kind of similar to Pheroma of working your way up through the different floors. Where you're going to be collecting potions for a bit, then you're going to be doing the rain side, then the wind side, and then it all comes back together to do the dragons and do them both simultaneously. And lightning bolts start shooting down when you're hunting the storm dragons. Roberto's asking about a new use for really, really shiny precious gold. Nothing planned in this area. I think that was just a comment from a hunter, but that's definitely a suggestion we get often, but it wasn't really a good fit for this area, so there'll be no new use for really, really shiny precious gold. What does the lit in the middle mean? Asks, where did that comment go? Asks Astral. You can control the weather. So hunters can also control the weather a little bit through an enchanted firebowl. You can light that firebowl, and while it's lit, it will prevent the weather from decreasing. So you can kind of use it when you get into a sweet spot. You can light that firebowl, and while it's burning, its magic will keep the weather from, or the weather intensity from decreasing. So it'll help you hunt some of the higher level mice. And MH Lai asks about the neighboring lake mentioned in the map piece. You know what, we'll let hunters kind of, well, we'll keep that a mystery for now. Actually, it's a bit of an inside joke between Franco, Giorgio, and myself, but it kind of doesn't really have anything to do with the lore of the game. But we'll leave that a mystery for now. Franco wrote the description, I think, of the map piece, and then he put that in to make Giorgio and I laugh quite profusely when we read it, and then we kept it in. It's flavor text only, though. It's not alluding to anything else. Although I'm certain, you know, when you're up in Mosu Picchu, you could probably get a crazy nice view of many things. Ryan asks, so when will the new area open, or is it already open if you collected the 3 climbing items? Well, currently the King's cartographers are still looking for a way out of the labyrinth to Mosu Picchu, so you can prepare ahead of time by getting those items so that when the area opens next week, which will be Wednesday, if all goes according to plan, then you'll be all set to enter the area. Otherwise, you can go and find those items at any time after Wednesday, and the area will immediately unlock. About the Fireball, how do you get fuel? You will be able to purchase some with dragon scales, as well as get it as loot drops in the area. Peter asked about the name of the new cheeses. There is windy cheese, rainy cheese, and dragon vine cheese. And dragon vine cheese is crafted from arcane vine and shadow vine, as well as I believe some curds and whey and some ionized salt. Peter asks if the loot from the 3 Zokor district leaders are guaranteed. Yes, so going forward, somebody will always get one of those as a drop on their first catch of a Zokor district leader. So the first time you go to, say, the Fealty district, you are guaranteed to get the infused plate, if I recall correctly, as the drop, as well as the, I don't remember the piece of climbing equipment, but you'll get that piece of climbing equipment. I believe they drop the climbing rope, the Fealty vine, if I recall correctly. So no, you will get the 3 drops after 3 runs. Chewgum asks, when will Glowing Greer be in the marketplace with Mosu Picchu release? So when Mosu Picchu is released, Glowing Greer will become tradable on the marketplace. Skippo asks if all the items needed for cheese are lootable. Yes, it's all loot driven, so it's very kind of a Pheroma feel. You're collecting loot to put together big long runs. Will dragon scales be available on the market? Asks JSig. No, they will not. They are sort of the big reward for the area, kind of the final currency, so you can't trade them. There's something you have to earn yourself. The trap as well is not tradable. You have to earn it yourself in the area. You might be able to, buy supplies from the marketplace, like we're adding Glowing Greer. You'll be able to purchase Glowing Greer to use your gold to help speed things up, but you won't be able to skip right to the end. You can't purchase the Rain or the Wind cheese or the Dragon Vine cheese. Benson is asking about the 2 draconic icons up in the corner of the HUD there. I believe that's just a power type hint. So if I were hunting wind mice, it's just a little reminder that the wind mice are weak to arcane. It'll change to an arcane symbol, and you can click it, and it opens up your trap selector to view the all the arcane traps you want to help you kind of switch traps a little bit quicker with fewer clicks. Are dragon scales a guaranteed drop, or is luck involved? The boss Fulmina the Mountain Queen is guaranteed to drop right now. I think it's 4 to 5 unless we tweak something, but you're guaranteed to get a drop. However, the lower, less powerful Storm Dragon Mice are not guaranteed. In fact, it's a little bit uncommon of a drop from them. So you really want to make sure you get the weather built up and you face off against the strongest mice you can to get the best loot drops. She asks, is anything except glowing gray going to be added to the marketplace? I think there's only one other tradable item that's coming out with the release, and it is used to craft a skin, but nothing to do with the trap or any sort of other rewards for the area. Peter asks if we'll have to smash the Ice Maiden or consume it. No, you just purchase it from the shop. It costs gold and dragon scales. What's the power type hint while using glowing gruyere? You know, off the top of my head, I don't know what it does. Maybe I didn't quite spot that. The mice who drop potions, so when you kind of have no weather effect going on and you're getting ready for that weather phase, you can use either Shadow or Arcane are the best choices. So it will kind of depend on your individual loadout. So if you have, say, the Chrome Temporal Turbine, but you only have the acronym, you'll probably want to use Shadow. But if you have like the Event Horizon Trap and the Reaper's Perch, then Arcane will probably be better. So whichever of the two has higher stats, that's the trap you'll probably end up going with, but it'll be a little bit different for every hunter depending on their circumstance. Well, we can go over to the trivia to kind of wrap things up here. I'll keep an eye open for other questions as they come in. But it has to do with Draconic, and that is how many Draconic traps are there in the game? Hint, not very many. "48 says Dennis is way too high. Dennis says 3 is too high. Peter Chan has the correct answer first of 2. There are only 2, count them, 2 Draconic traps in the game. Although soon to be 3. There will be a third. There will be the Dragon Vine Ballista, the Ice Maiden, and the Dragon Lance. The Dragon Lance is a limited edition Draconic trap that Ronza brought once upon a time, I think several years ago. And the chat is still flowing with numbers of quite a few too. Kate says she beat Peter. Well, that was the first one that showed up in my chat. Maybe it doesn't quite come out in the right order. But regardless, somebody in the chat had the answer correct. There's a reward link there, which I should maybe paste in the chat. I don't have it written down anywhere. I guess I'll type it out. Hitgreb.co 2WT, looks like a 0, okay, 2 capital N's. And I typed that out completely incorrectly. Forgot the slashes. Look at me, I'm a web developer. I don't even know how URLs work, apparently. There we go. And I'll claim it as well. It's 3 lantern oil to help your journey through the labyrinth to prepare for Mosu Picchu. Thanks for the temporal plate, says Ben. Uh-oh. We let our neuroses be too well known. Ryan's talking about portal projectors. We mentioned, I think it was last week, we were preparing a player poll to collect a lot of feedback about portal projectors, whether we update the existing ones and whether or not there's something we continue with. changes that we would make to the existing ones, and if we do go forward, how ones would work in the future. We've wrapped all that up. It's going to be actually included in the next mobile update. Everything will be prepped and ready to go with the launch of Mosu Picchu, so make sure you download the mobile app update, which will probably be released on Tuesday, so keep an eye on Google Play and the App Store. And then shortly after Mosu Picchu comes out, maybe a little later in the week, if not the following week, we'll put up the banners and link everybody to the poll. And if you play from the mobile app, a banner will appear in the mobile app if you have the latest version that includes the Mosu Picchu HUD. If you have that version of the app, when the poll is available, a banner will appear. We'll go back to this more colorful collage. Luke says, only recently started playing again after 5 years off. Welcome back. Glad to have you back in the hunt. Dave, are you the king? No, I'm a hunter like everyone else. Being paid gold for capturing mice. Ryan sadly needs fungus. That is a rare imbalance to have. Usually nightshade is the limiter, and you get a little too much fungus, and you can convert your fungus into nightshade farming charms. But if you go overboard in converting the fungus into charms, then you may put yourself on the end of too much nightshade. MHLI asks about the hunter rank not rounding up. That is a bug. We fixed it. It will go live with Mosu Picchu. So currently, if you are, let's say, 95.6% Archduke, it will, on the HUD, will say that you are 100% Archduke. It's obviously meant to say you're 99 still. So there's a little bit of a rounding error that went out, but we fixed it. And on Wednesday, when Mosu Picchu is launched, if all goes according to plan, that bug fix will go live with that release. Swift asks if Fulmina is the one on Jacob's page. I believe so. It is. She's a large mouse made out of what appears to be entirely out of lightning and is roughly the size of a mountain. So your trap has its work cut out for it to capture her. So who is the king? The king. The king is the king of Narnia. No ancient potions this week, says Dennis. Yeah, I guess Larry was in the mood to hand out something more useful. Will there be Mosu Picchu tournaments? I believe Franco did make some rule sets. They might not be out on the day of release, but they'll come out a little bit later, and Michelle can schedule some. Any mini labyrinth event coming before Mosu Picchu? Nothing planned. How many new mice are there? At least 20. Let me double check. For some reason, I wrote down my local version of the game. I wasn't seeing the mouse group there. But I can look at my spreadsheet, because I love spreadsheets. Mice. There are 24 new mice with Mosu Picchu. None are particularly rare, similar to, say, Feroma. Once you kind of get all the cheese you need to hunt Fulmina, you can get it in such a way that you're encountering her on every single hunt. There is one mouse that's maybe a little bit more rare, around the 5% encounter rate, but I think if you spend some time in the area, you will get that mouse on the journey towards Fulmina. Will there be Mosu Picchu maps? Now, something we've been doing recently is doing the map release a little bit after the main release. So maps are planned to come out maybe 2-3 weeks after the release of the area. It's a good opportunity for us to get feedback from hunters if there are any other adjustments or bug fixes or HUD tweaks we want to make. It's kind of a nice little milestone to also address other feedback and add the maps. It also helps us decide, well, what the reward should be doing for, or what the reward should be for the maps after seeing hunters hunt in the area for a couple weeks and getting their feedback on it. For this particular release, we are looking to do something a little more, a little extra special with the map release. Maybe launching a little bit of a mini event alongside with it, something to add a little bit of variety. We're still brainstorming that, or something to tie in with maybe a little bit of a different sort of Slayer scroll. We're kind of kicking around that idea as well. We've had feedback from hunters about asking for an easier way, or a more predictable way is maybe a better way to phrase it, of getting a Slayer scroll. So we're sort of inspired by that, maybe giving Fulmina her own sort of drop where you can work towards something that's similar to a Slayer scroll. And actually had a feedback question that I forgot to wrote down. Let me grab that quick before we wrap things up. It came up from our faithful long-tail beta testers. Had an interesting suggestion. Now I'm trying to remember where that suggestion was. Let's see if I can dig that up. Oh, right. It was with the skins. So, something we've asked about in the past is about skins with unique abilities, and this is a bit of a polarizing idea whether skins should have any sort of abilities, maybe if it's just in a specific area so that other skins for the traps are still valuable when you take the trap to other areas. You know, the one with a special ability would just be purely cosmetic. But a suggestion was to create almost like a new class of item that is in your inventory that augments your gameplay. So you can think something like the Rift Codex that upgrades you from the Rift Walker to the Rift Stalker bonus. Something along the lines of you have some magical item in your inventory and it boosts your loot drops just because you own it. So you don't need to make the conscious effort to equip the trap. It's more like unlocking an ability, and the item is sort of that check mark to say, yes, you now have this ability because you own this item. That would be cool, says Peter. Yes. Rank abilities, says Inu. Yeah, on another topic, with the recent Hunter title overhaul, we were getting other feedback from hunters, and there were some great suggestions about how to make titles even more interesting, give them more abilities, and sort of didn't have time to put that into this update. We wanted just to make sure to split up Archduke before someone completed Archduke, because actually the game would have broke if somebody leveled up from Archduke. I think their game would have stopped loading, so we took care of that problem. That was sort of the priority. And but we did put in our backlog to even revisit Hunter titles again and make them a little extra special. So some positive feedback in the chat from doing more codex-like items, or even there's traps that say like Zugzwang's ultimate move and stuff, where the trap has a unique ability, but you have to remember to arm it when you go to the area. Whereas if it was sort of these ability items in your inventory, or even if we expand, they're the codexes. They give you the knowledge and unlock abilities for your hunter. Then they would be sitting in your inventory. You wouldn't have to remember to arm a specific trap. Now, it may not work in all circumstances. If we want to give a powerful ability to a trap that doesn't have the greatest stats, something might get out of whack. If, say, you can go somewhere with a Chrome Monster Bot and have an ability might be overpowered. But what are the 2 mysterious extra crafting slots that sages get? Nothing planned for them yet, but just sort of new abilities. We might revisit that as well when we visit titles again. A Party Point Codex. Party Bot Codex is a suggestion there. Well, on that note, hunters, we'll wrap things up. Oh, that is not the correct. That's a slide from last week. We'll wrap things up on that note, hunters. Gave a little sneak peek at Mosu Picchu, and everything it's planned to go live on Wednesday, unless we have some sort of setback or something needs some more tweaking. But fingers crossed, knock on wood, that everything goes well over the weekend and on Tuesday when we do our final testing for the area. So check back Wednesday, probably around about the same time that Feedback Friday goes live, is the same time that we typically update the game as well. So good luck in the labyrinth, tracking down your map pieces. I'm there myself, doing a fealty run. I better sound my horn. I think I'm about to get to the end. I have 77 fealty clues. I think I can turn off my lantern. I think I'll get 3 more before the end of this hallway. So thanks for joining me. Have a great weekend. Good luck in the labyrinth. And for Grand Duke, Grand Duchess, and above, prepare for Mosu Picchu coming next week. Until next time, happy hunting. Oh, and I gotta get this slide here, get this outro slide ready. There it is.
Waiting for my chance to shine. I am good.